Hello, West Lawn families and everyone tuning in from home. I'm Laurie, Jentes, coordinator of Children's and Family Ministries here at the church. Today, I'd like to talk to you about investments. Now, I'm no Dave Ramsey. In fact, I don't even know a stock from a bond. But I have been privileged to know some top investors whose efforts have made me truly rich. I have a hot tip to share with you later, in fact. Let's start with the backstory. Picture it, South Jersey, 1980-something. For the first 14 years of my life, I lived with my family in a fairly small house on a fairly uneventful street. So when my parents announced that we were moving across town to a bigger place in a great neighborhood, you'd think I would have been excited about my spacious new room within walking distance of a pool. Instead, I launched my first PR campaign. My parents could barely open a drawer or a door without a little note falling out. I had made dozens of them. Each note had a reason why we shouldn't move, with a little hand-drawn logo of our house with tears coming out of the windows. I really laid it on thick. I've been resistant to change since before I was born and came 2 weeks after my mom's due date. But that's not why I didn't want to move. It was Mrs. Walker next door who taught me how to crochet and would chat with me on her front steps until the stars came out. It was Mrs. Melanek on the other side who had more flowers than grass and taught me about every plant as she let me watch her garden. It was Mrs. Blombaum across the street who clapped at my cartwheels and let me plow through a row of lunar dunes without judgment. As the only kids on the block for many years, these grandparent figures had poured themselves into my sister and me in a way that felt like family. As for actual family, we were also lucky enough to have devoted grandparents. Together, we went on Saturday morning errands, rode the train to Philly, fished, cooked, went to church, jumped waves, read books, played games, picked strawberries, and on and on and on. Without realizing it, I had been learning about intergenerational investments all along. I had accumulated a diversified portfolio of little acts of love that really added up. But why did all these older people, especially non-relatives, go out of their way to make a little kid feel so special? Well, 1 John 4:19 says, "We love because he first loved us." It's a short but profound verse that comes from a letter written by John. One of the commentaries I read explained, God is love, created love, and loved us first. Another said, God's love is the source of all human love, and it spreads like fire. In loving his children, he kindles a flame in their hearts. In turn, they love others who are warmed by God's love through them. But the real test of our love is for God is how we treat the people right in front of us, our family members, our fellow believers. We cannot truly love God while neglecting to love those who are created in his image. In the same way, all those older people who loved me first made me want to love them back and pay it forward. Maybe that's why I like working with kids so much. That because they're brutally honest and funny. As part of West Lawn's Spread the Love campaign, Children's and Family Ministries put together kits for our kids to create and send Valentines to older members of the congregation. Something like these. Each family receives supplies to make 1 or 2 cards, including a pre-addressed envelope for an unsuspecting recipient. It was a small way to help bridge the generation gap and show love to those who loved first. It was also a lesson in personal investing, just as I learned by example through neighbors, grandparents, and others more than 4 decades ago. So here's my hot investment tip that I hope you'll remember. When we give of ourselves and invest in other people with God's love, the dividends will span generations, and there is no greater return than that.